Hello, everyone. This is the Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I am your werewolf. Welcome back again for another anime spotlight for everybody. We are talking about The Boy and the Beast. An interesting spotlight this time because I have not seen this movie myself. So this time I won't be the one that's super knowledgeable about this. We all have actually watched this movie fresh. And who better to join me than my usual compadres? Brian Gil Martin, the Maverick Hunter Saint.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've all been having a great Thanksgiving. And yeah, we're going to be talking about Boy and the Beast. And now this one is a rather interesting one that I've heard. I just watched it recently, and yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it. So on to our next guest.
Here to carry us forward through this with his usual eloquence is the Schooner the Tuna, Schooner Tuna.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming at you live from a secret underground facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And yes, The Boy and the Beast is quite a unique take, and I am thoroughly interested in talking about this. So without further ado, let's get to our next guest.
Next guest will be Fish Chozo, the main man.
Mm, yeah, I've been here for how many months now?
Let's say four. Let's say four.
Okay, okay. I think 4 months.
How's that? What the hell, Fizz? Every time I introduce you, you always bring up something that's inconsequential about what we're talking about.
Okay, but I will say one thing before we start talking about this movie. If you're furry, this movie is for you.
And if, and if you watch it, this does not make you a furry.
I know it does not make you a furry, of course, but if you are furry, this movie is for you. This is basically like a more civilized version of what the wild things are, except they're on wild.
Yeah.
Next guest will be the Hound of the South, Dominic Powell.
Good, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I watched Boy and the Beast some time ago, and it's a very fun movie with some universal themes, things that touches us all in the heart. One of the main ones being fatherhood, guardianship, amongst other things. But
Yeah,
also, it's a
agreed.
very beautiful coming of age story.
That was a mouthful, but I love it though.
Yeah.
What he just said basically encapsulates the core part of this story, which is as Dominic has said, fatherhood, family, and what else did you bring up, Dominic? Done had a brain fart just now.
It was a coming of age story. And
Yeah.
something
Most
else
importantly,
something I'd like to
Yeah,
add to that is the theme of "You are not alone."
mm-hmm,
Hmm.
So
companionship, basically
yeah,
companionship.
oh it's one of the major themes of Boy and the Beast. You're not alone and companionship.
Before we begin, quick announcement: there might be some dry spells that we're going to be having due to me possibly visiting family or going out to visit family, depending on what I choose right now. So we might have to skip out or move up the Man in Black talk either behind or forward,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I have to just cancel every Wolf Commander Rambles upcoming stream, and move it all on January, just to make sure that we are not behind. I don't leave you guys in the dark. We're still continuing on schedule as usual.
That'll be a great way to rank in the new year. I like it.
good
So in the
way.
chat right now, as a ninja, we have the Bear of the North, Eloise Dotto. We also have Leia, who's going to be present with us. Says hi. I'm not at home, but I am listening to you. Have a great show. Thank you, Leia. Hopefully,
Hey, Leia.
that's another thing. I'm trying to make sure that we have out a time frame where Leia still can accommodate her healing time, so she can come back in, so we can basically just witness the return of the Lady of Valor.
Mm-hmm.
So hopes and prayers and love and praise for
Right.
Leia's recovery.
Right.
Now that out of the way, Bear with me. So, excuse me. So this movie was released around 2015. It was directed by Mamoru Hosoda. I think I pronounced the name. Hosoda. Film
Yeah.
shares the voices of Koji Yakusho, Ai, Miyazaki, Shota, Samatani. You know, I'm gonna skip through all this shit. It won Animation of the Year at the 37th Japan Academy Prizes and grossed 5.85 billion yen at
I
the
take it that's a
Japanese
pretty good.
box office.
See,
What'd you say?
I was saying I take it that's pretty good.
Yes, yes, it was
By Japanese
actually.
standards?
Yes, it
By
was.
Japanese standards, I think it made them fucking rich.
They could retire
Anyway,
on that kind of money.
okay, synopsis. 9-year-old Ren has recently lost his mother with no news of his father and refusing to live with his legal guardians. Ren flees into the streets of Shibuya. Ren steals some food and sleeps in the alley, reminiscent the aftermath of his mother's funeral. In the Beast Kingdom, the Grandmaster is decided he will retire in order to reincarnate as a deity and names two potential successors: the popular Eozen, who is also the father of two children, and the powerful Kamatetsu, who is lonely and lazy. The Grandmaster suggests that Kamatetsu find a disciple in hopes of inspiring him to succeed him. While wandering the streets of Tokyo with his makeshift companion, Tatara, Kamatetsu meets Ren and suggests that the boy becomes a disciple. Though Ren is fiercely opposed, he follows Kamatetsu back to the Beast Kingdom out of curiosity, but is unable to get back to the human world. As he watches a battle between Eozen and Kamatetsu, Ren is impressed with Kamatetsu's persistence despite the lack of support from onlookers. When Ren cheers for him, Kamatetsu is easily defeated. However, the Grand Master declares the actual duel of succession has not come yet. And this will be the
And
last line. Hang on. This will be the last
okay,
line, and then we'll begin. Taking Ren as a disciple, Kamatetsu gives him a new name, Kayata.
Kyuta.
Kyuta!
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 Nobody else gonna follow after that? Okay. Thank you, Dominic. Anyways, their initial training sessions go poorly, but Kyota realizes that he can learn from Kamatetsu by imitating him while performing his household chores. The boy gradually discovers that he can predict his master's movements and can dodge and move adeptly in combat. They soon begin training together. After 8 years, the teenage Kyuta has become a distinguished Kendo practitioner. Moreover, through his relationship with Kyuta, Kamatetsu gains his own following of supporters, including the younger son of Eozen, Jiromaru, who wishes to be trained by Kamatetsu. And that's all I'm going to say for now, and then we'll get into our thoughts about this movie. Let's start with you know what? Let's go with our forerunner, Schooner. Go ahead, Schooner.
well, yeah. Anyone who is a fan of this director, he also did Summer Wars and Wolf Children.
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring that up.
Yeah, he did. Which so meaning we're in good hands right now. We are in stellar company in terms of animation and storytelling. Right off the bat, I already knew I was going to love this movie right after the opening act because immediately they made me sympathize with our protagonist. I mean, he's alone, but I'm just going to go into what I really love here. The Boy and the Beast is a unique trope that is actually surprisingly subverted in a good way because it's about taming the masculinity. That's what did you guys call it? That's a universal theme, but it does something unique with it. Instead, because most stories of taming the masculinity almost often comes from a girl. This is more so about taming the masculinity, but man taming the beast within himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that fascinating because never have I seen a trope like that used. It's almost like Beauty and the Beast, but instead of beauty, it's a boy, and I love it. It's fantastic.
There is a girl involved though.
There is a girl involved.
Let's not kid ourselves on that one. There is still a girl involved.
There's a girl involved, but she comes later, and that plays an important role. So put a pin in that because it's important. But like you guys said, it's a story about coming of age. It's about fatherhood, and it's about boyhood and the rough, and it's an allegory to the rough adolescence of life. I mean, when we're kids, you know, and we're growing up and we fall on hard times, we often are angry and bitter at the world around us. And this is what I love about our protagonist. His mother has died, and he is very angry because his father has not come to pick him up. He thought because his mom and his dad divorced, it's revealed, but he thought that his father would come and get him, but that did not happen.
Daddy wasn't there. To change my underwear. Daddy wasn't there. Thank you. Continue, Scooter.
So he's angry. But exactly, he's very angry that his father didn't come and get him, and those who would be watching over him really don't have any real affection for him. They're more so taking care of him out of necessity. They said that he's the sole male heir of this family, and ergo, we're going to take care of you and all that kind of stuff. So he runs away, and after he runs into a funny little furry, the little ball of cotton companion. I don't know if that's a mouse or if that's, I don't know, but it's adorable.
That would be Chico.
Yep, Chico. Chico shows up, and while he's sitting there, I love it because and I love how it just goes right into the realm of fantasy. No ifs, ands, or no fucks given. Pardon my French. No fucks given. It goes right in. And this guy shows up and he says, "You need a disciple because the master says that it would do you well." And this beast looks at him and he says, "Hey, you lonely boy, want to be my disciple?" Never mind. And just walks away. And then he goes running into the beast world, and the beast that I love this beast guy. He's freaking awesome because
Komatetsu,
Komatetsu he is the embodiment of the allegory of the beast within the beast that is in all men. So, because what is he? He's loud. He's abrasive.
He's arrogant and very surly as well.
He's arrogant and surly, but you are endeared to his character because there's just a likability to him that you don't know what it is. He's very, he's just so likable. that's the best I could describe.
Also,
he's
also like Komatetsu, like he knows what he's talking about. However, like incompatible with that arrogance is laziness. So in a way, he is an inverse of Mr. Miyagi and other mentor and father figure characters that we've seen like throughout multiple forms.
We can call him for what he is: brilliant but lazy.
He's inarticulate as well.
He's he's brilliant, he's lazy, but he's also very set in his ways because his ways have helped him out. And now
he reminds me of Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah.
I did kind of get that vibe.
But now he's hit a roadblock, especially because of this competition on who's going to be the master. And he wants to be the master because as the story goes, so you learn early on that he wants to take this kid as his disciple and he wants to be the master, but there's a rival to him. Long story short, the two of them get into a bit of a skirmish. We see that his rival is very humble, very disciplined, and has gone through the work to get to where he is. And when he's fighting, I'm just going to call him Beast because I like his name, that name. When he fights the Beast, you can tell the Beast has heart and he has soul, but he's clearly lacking something in this fight. And that's what's holding him back. He's hit a roadblock. He can't solve this problem the way he usually solves most of his problems now. Right. And he loses the fight and I don't think it's a real humiliating manner, but it definitely shows that he's lacking something.
Yeah. It also shows that everyone is solidly behind Iozen, who is the guy that beat Kumatetsu as well.
Yeah.
Just to, since I don't have really any pictures of the show, Iozen is a boar in that world. Right. There's a variety of animal people in that world.
I know that.
Beastmen. I ain't talking about you, man. I'm talking about for the people in the back.
Mm-mm.
Dang it.
People
I think
watch
that
it.
Yeah, I'm saying just for context for everybody. Eosin is he's a boar.
Right.
Uh, but
Q-Tetsuko is a bear.
yeah, he's the bear. He does have his companions with him. Pictured in this this picture viewing on the screen right now.
hmm
Yeah.
I
It's
think also what that scene shows too when he's versing and is his name Tatara or no?
Tatara and Hyaku something or other for the pig guy.
Yeah,
give me a
also
sec.
the warthog. Yeah, but what I like about him is that this fight also endears the little boy Ren to him because
Yeah.
Well, you know
Sorry.
what that
Sorry.
is?
Pause, guys. Pause. So his friend, the monkey, is Tatara.
Mhm.
The as Brian said, Hiya Kashubo
Right.
is
Mhm.
the I believe it's the is the pig.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep these names up in case we forget.
Yeah.
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 But continue, guys.
But what I love about the scene is when he's fighting, when the two of them are fighting, despite having no support or anybody backing him whatsoever, Ren is endeared to him because he keeps going. And his struggles, he sees in that his struggles match his. So
Exactly. He sees a kindred spirit in Kumatetsu.
he
Mm.
sees a kindred spirit in Kumatetsu, and he decides to resign himself to, you know what, I'm going to be your disciple. And it's kind of, I think it's kind of funny because the first training session goes horribly wrong because Kumatetsu he's never taken on a disciple of his own. And oh crap, I can't believe I forgot this. Okay, when they find out that Ren is his disciple, immediately everybody says, you brought in a human, you can't have a human. They're dangerous, there's a darkness within them, and it's evil and all that kind of stuff.
Which we'll begin into later on.
Which is very important because it does come in later. But what I love about Kumatetsu is that he says, I can do what I want. You said go and get a disciple, and I got one. You never specified where. And they say, get rid of him. And he goes, no. He goes, like 0 F's given. He just goes, no. I chose him. He's mine.
Pretty much.
Fish, what do you got to add to this?
It's strange. It's strange that nobody bats Kutetsu
Well, you know
because
why that is? Because again, it's the things we talked about. His flaws as a character, because he's very inarticulate, he's loud, he's arrogant, and he's very set in his
He's
ways,
very
and he's very
brash.
Hang on, hang on,
but,
guys. Hang on,
but,
guys.
but
Continue,
the thing
Fish.
is, but the thing is, I'm surprised nobody was endeared by that. Like absolutely nobody. At least there'll be a couple people who was endeared by that.
Well, it was because how he conducts himself. Remember,
It's more of a history thing.
yeah.
Everybody is very familiar with his antics.
Well, and
And
not only that, when they were going one on one in a fight, what's the warthog's name again?
Yosin.
Yozin.
I'm sorry.
Yozan.
Yozan. Okay, I'm just gonna call him Yozan. What did Yozan do in the fight? First, he bows to his opponent. He goes through the steps, of respectability, and Kumatetsu
just shows off.
Yeah, he's just showing off, and everybody already immediately, he's not endearing himself to the crowd. However,
Good impression.
But he does get the crowd, a little riled up. So in the beginning of the fight too, he takes off all of his stuff and gets ready to fight, and he starts dancing around, and the crowd's already loving that. Okay, so he can get a crowd on his side, but he doesn't endear himself to a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
His own fault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His own fault. And after he loses the fight, the master comes in. A rabbit who I love, who's just.
Hang on, man. You still going? I'm still want to hear Fizz's his words. Go ahead, Fizz.
Another thing with that fight is I love that they actually put in some animalistic elements, like the fact that they try to make themselves seem bigger and more intimidating with the fur going up.
Mm-hmm. I like that detail too.
By the way, I like animation when they're in the animal world. When they're in the human world, the animation's kind of weird because they got CGI backgrounds with 2D characters. And
That was experimental. That was an experimental thing. Most of the stuff it ain't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Anything else you want to add, Fizz?
Uh, not much. Not much.
Not much. So,
Yeah.
Dominic, go ahead and take the reins. Brian, go after him, and
Right.
Schooner, go after Brian.
You got it.
Yeah. What I'm impressed by the animators for The Boy and the Beast is how they use like the composition and color theory as we move like from the beast world to the human world.
Hey,
In
I
the
like
beast,
that too.
That's true.
yeah, in the beast world, it's very colorful and lively. And
Vibrant.
you see, yeah, like you see, it helps establish on this world that lives alongside the human world, but in a different plane of existence. Yeah, yes, they're vibrant and they act in ways that you would expect, such as animals in the human world. Whereas in the human world, like it's a complete contrast. It's less vibrant, which is because like each scene like transitions to like the night, but when it's daytime, you see light, but it's not as vibrant and lively as the beast world.
Well, it's the difference between like a world that has like a lot of greens and yellows and reds in the beast world versus the city, which is mostly just gray and black and brown tones.
Mm-hmm. And it works too because it fits the mood and tone of Ren. He's just lost his mother, he's depressed, and he's angry. So what you have is very violent and aggressive colors contrasted with like you guys said, dull gray. And when he gets to the beast world, there's vibrant and colorful, nothing artificial. Because when he's in the human world, you see the artificial lights and constructs of the human world, whereas in the beast world, everything is flowing in a perfect, harmonious fashion.
Yeah.
So the scene where go ahead.
In other words, whereas in the beast world, where you see a majority of warm colors on full display from the characters into the architecture, whereas in the human world, you see cool colors to represent like the distinction between the two planes of existence, in
In
spite of having the same planet.
summation of that, it's one side is warm, vibrant, as in busy, creative, and just full of ideas and what's that word we always like to bring up? Innovate,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
innovation. Whereas the other is cool colors, which is mundane, at times stagnant or boring, or just
In the
going in
human
one
world, it's not
direction.
really cool colors. It's really dull colors.
That too, but there's some coolness to them. But yeah, you're right, Fizz. It just basically just states that the adult world can be very mundane and dangerously what's another word of saying that? Dangerously
Regressive.
thank you. Let's work with that. Let's work with that. But yeah, I get what you guys are saying at that about the colors on that front. Like even I mean, there's a lot to talk. Like when you really boil down to it, there's a lot to talk about in the beast world than it is in the human world because we already know what the human world is like.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's the gift about this
props
director. This is the gift to the director and the animators and the art department because it pulls you in and you want to learn more about this.
and no animal's the same.
No.
Another thing is, in the animal world, they live like old samurai days, like the old back in the old
Feudal.
samurai era.
Yeah, feudal.
Feudal,
Well, it's
different era.
traditionalism versus modernism.
Yeah, exactly. I'll say that right. Yeah, modernization with because it's not so much like that ancient past because they do have running water, they have sinks, they have bathrooms and that kind of stuff. But it's also got this really back this atmosphere of, like you said, traditionalism.
Mhm.
Right.
Props to the writer for keeping it in the beast world, whereas us Westerners like to we got in our case when we have these type of worlds that tend to differ from one each other. These days we tend to now focus far too much on the human world as opposed to the fantastical world. Not like in the good old days where a good comparison besides where the wild things are. There was also this one '90s movie called Warriors of Virtue.
Yep.
Hmm.
And another example
I'm not
is
done yet,
Live
man.
Action Hero.
I'm not done yet. Not done yet.
My apologies.
I'm saying that because that was the story in that one is kind of similar, so to speak. Only difference is that the kid in that one had a busted knee, so
Mm-hmm.
he's wearing a leg brace, but he goes to the world where there's these karate fighting martial arts kangaroos in a
Now
world that
I heard that movie,
you need to watch it.
and
It's really good.
one thing, reason why I want to respond to what you say, that's because the reason why I focus on the human world in these Western productions is that, well, the budget, and that
That too.
everything has to be live action.
That too. That
So
too.
Yeah.
yeah, so since everything got to be live action, and all offer get allow people to watch it, and
Yeah.
what else, and also because and budget, we gotta have it be in human world. It's just that
It's a
simple.
shame that they don't use that excuse. They always use that excuse as because it you know the usual excuse they use for why they always focus on the humans and all that shit. It's because they want us to connect to the humans here and there or have some connectivity to the world. They think that if they focus too much on that world that people won't get it or follow it per se,
Right.
which I
Mm-hmm.
call bullshit on that one.
Right.
I
It's a
think.
No, it's not really that. It's just budget.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. What I'm saying is, the usual BS excuse.
Oh yeah.
But this.
We know what's up, but that's the excuse that they always fall on to, which is
That now you can't now you can do that. Focusing on a fantasy world in a cartoon, but American the West doesn't really make anything into cartoons outside the silly sitcoms.
and nobody
Mm-hmm.
don't want to put in the budget to build a set
Right.
Exactly. Not anymore. Nowadays
unless
you
you
see
want to do it
CGI for
green
everything.
screen. Yep.
Nowadays they put
Nowadays
the
you
budget
nowadays
towards getting these legacy stars who just want way more money than they really should.
I'll give you another. I'll give you another complaint too. Going back to again, just going back to Black Panther. You have Wakanda in its design, right?
Hmm.
Why does it look like every other modern day city?
Mm-hmm.
Riddle me that
Yeah.
from a distance.
Well.
But then we finally
Yeah.
get the Wakanda as it's supposed to look like near the end of Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off with that shit. Anyways, I digress.
What I think this movie did right, especially when you're in a foreign world, is that it gives you enough of the familiar, but it also shows you the fantastic, and it's from Ren's point of view. We spent the first little bit of the movie looking at Ren and his life and his story, and then we learn uh, Kamatetsu's story through his eyes when he follows him back to the beast world. We see, all right, he has his two companions, but more or less he lives alone. His house is a complete and total mess.
Mhm.
And
Pigsty.
yeah, it's a pigsty. And what's funny is that but the thing is too, is what I thought was cool is that he's also his house is self-sustaining. He self-sustains himself. He has chickens, he has rice, and that's what he does when he eats in the morning. And when Ren runs away, he goes after him, and you see the hustle and bustle of the city. And then you see Kamatetsu's story when he runs into his rival, and you learn how he's really seen by the people there. It's doing so much with so little, and that's what they did right about the world. And you keep it focused on your two main characters. That's how you explore a world. That's how you do world building.
Here's another thing that I like about this movie: mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How often is that missed in today's stories being written?
Almost all
Uh,
of them. Almost all of them.
It's like
Yeah.
they completely forego mentorship.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you got female protagonists, and you can't have a female protagonist be mentored.
Not even, and here's the thing when it comes to female protagonists, Fizz. Now that you bring that up, even when when they do actually allow a female to be mentored, it's usually a woman that acts as if the girl don't need no teaching.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like
That's exactly what
they
last year
try to
I
pretend that
did.
the girl has all this knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and that.
that's what Rise of Skywalker did actually, because you don't really see Leia in Rise of Skywalker actually mentoring
That's because
Rey.
Carrie Fisher
She
died.
just
That's the J.J.
even when
Abrams
they're
couldn't do that.
but here's the thing, Fizz. They had her superimposed into the movie, and you're telling me
Mhm.
she could not like where I'm going with this, Fizz. Let, let, me- let me break it down. Is the fact that even though the technology they were using to superimpose her, you're telling me that she could not say any words of wisdom to Rey,
Mhm.
not even give her at least Leia's philosophy of the Force.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's supposed to be Force sensitive with her Mary Poppins and all that stuff. But my thing is like you're telling me she has no knowledge of the Force or no inner wisdom to the Force. Not even not and here's another thing that bugged me about Rise of Skywalker with Leia being the mentor, and this is also female mentors in general, is that they're always these platitudes. They speak in platitudes. Nothing
Mhm.
nothing that can help the heroine in the long run. It's like again with the platitudes and all that stuff, they just say, oh, be this, be that, like Oprah Winfrey in Wrinkle of Time. Be a warrior. How?
Mhm. Well, and we actually do, which
You don't
is why
actually,
that's why this
yeah.
movie is a breath of fresh air. Because when Kamatetsu takes Ren on his first training session, what does he do with them? He says, "Go like this." Ah, ah.
Yeah,
It's
without
really,
really articulating what else he needs to do. Things like
yeah.
footwork, stance, having your
Mhm.
muscles tensed a certain way, like stuff that
Mhm.
would actually help him learn
Dude's
his
playing by
technique.
ear by that point.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
Well, and that's the thing too. He kept expecting exactly what they put in Western media. The kid will get it. He'll get it himself. I don't have to tell him anything. He'll just get it.
Your job is the teacher.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that's what I loved about the scene is because his friends are telling him you got to be patient with him. You got to find a new way of you got to find a new way because you got to find a new way of teaching him. I mean, teach him how you were taught. And it's like nobody taught me. I learned all this myself. I did it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
that's
basically
where.
self-taught.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where he runs into the problem since he had no one to show him those nuances. He just learned it all himself, and now he's expecting this other kid to pick up on it same way as he did, which
Yeah.
goes about as well as you'd expect.
Mm-hmm. And what I love is that the kid decides to. Well, first, what I love about the master is that also I think this director has a thing for rabbits because Summer Wars and Wolf Children. There's always a theme of rabbits in his stories.
Hmm.
Mm,
And I think this
interesting.
director's a furry. I heard the director was actually a furry in real life.
Is that a problem?
Aha.
No, not really.
Anyway,
No,
but
I'm
but
I
messing
think
with
no.
you.
Well, reason why I'm saying that because rabbits might be his persona. I'm not sure.
And you
well,
prove that.
what I find is
Sounds
cool about
legit, anyways.
they also show with very subtlety why the master is the master because he is super quick and fast. Nobody can see where he is. Fast like
Take
a
life one day at a time.
rabbit.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
thought the
a
rabbit.
wise
Yeah,
man said to me. What
I thought the
life's
rabbit.
complexity. Hang on, Fizz. I'm in the singing mode. I know you know about the Last Dragon, man. Come on,
Yeah, I
you ain't
love the
that
last
young.
dragon.
I'm saying, you know, that's what I get that kind of vibe from this movie too. It's
Yeah.
soon as he actually nut up and start training Kyoto, he that's when that song started popping in. I was like, oh yeah, this is Last
Well,
Dragon moment right now.
that's the thing that I thought was interesting too, is that after their failed training session, Kamatsu just disappears for a few days, and that's when Toyota or Ren starts cleaning up his place and starts fixing everything up. And Ren gets a false impression of Kamutetsu because he just disappears for days on end. He doesn't care about me and all that stuff. Kamutetsu comes back and he says, well, where do you think I was those 3 days? I was working. I work this place, I work that place. I can't just, this is how I maintain everything. And the master appears and says, hey, maybe you should take him with you when you go to work. And you know what? There's a lot of masters in the towns that you go and visit and work at here. And he gives him these little pieces of paper and says, maybe it'll help you train the boy.
He actually goes out of his way to talk to these masters to really get philosophy and perspectives. Go ahead.
I want to say something. I want to say something to the Rabbit Emperor. I thought the Rabbit Emperor just teleporting. Well, because keep in mind, in this world, some of the beasts have random superpowers, as we see with the masters. Now, there's one editing problem that they had when they just start introducing the masters. Usually when the montage starts, they just it starts off slow, then it speeds up. This doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't, and I like that. And this is another thing, too, that I like about the Master, is that he's clearly not playing favorites, despite everybody in the town thinking that Kamutetsu's rival is going to be the one chosen. He's clearly the clear and obvious choice. The Master makes it very clear, I have not made a decision yet. And when he goes out of his way to help Kamutetsu, I was already saying in my head, the Master's already chosen, but he can see, he's already chosen, but he realizes that Kamutetsu needs help, and that's another Eastern philosophy. It's when the student is ready, the master will appear, and we got that. We got that with Ren and Kamutetsu when, in the beginning, when Kamutetsu.
I didn't think the Rabbit Emperor had chose either of them, because he's not good at choosing things, as we can see in this movie. Anytime he waited years before he figured out what type of guy he's going to become.
He's indecisive.
He's indecisive because he sees the qualities that both have, but I think, in my opinion, he does favor Kamutetsu because he sees that Kamutetsu, among other things,
it's a common trope.
It's a common trope.
In that, Schooner, it's a common trope in that the master sees some potential in even those that people overlook, or those that scoff at. You got the lazy layabout who could be the potential master or a form of greatness if he would just apply himself. But unfortunately, he's not of that type of bracket. He's carefree. He's easygoing. He lives for the moment. Sometimes
he lives for the moment, and there was never a problem he couldn't solve with his fist.
He's very bullhead like that.
Yeah, just call Rabbit the Emperor. That's what we know him as.
All right,
exactly.
Well, and when he tells him, why don't you take your student out to show him what it's like being you, and gives him these little letters of recommendation that he can give to each of the masters, and we learn from each of these different masters what the idea of strength is. And the boy Ren is listening to this, whereas Kamutetsu is just yawning. He's bored. It's just like,
this is all bullshit, is what he's thinking.
Yeah, he's like, this is all BS. And side note, because this is my favorite part, I love the scene where the walrus or seal master basically eats the monkey's jacket. You think at first he's going to eat him, and you're like, oh my god! And then, of course, no, he just eats the jacket.
Well, and last time I checked, this might not be relevant because they beast people, but last time I checked, seals can't digest red meat anyway. So.
By the way, the brilliant star. Come on, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Neo Star's here.
Neo Star, go. I want to hear this.
The brilliant star that shines through the night, the camel clutch that makes you humble. Rise, a man stands before you. Rise up, chop! Rise up, kick!
Kick. Hey, I feel like singing along, man.
Good. He's also got some comments here. Y'all want to dig into them real quick?
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it. I think I'll take this first one. Man, it's been years since I've seen this movie. Ah, so you're familiar with this, eh, Neo Star? Good to know.
He's an anime. See, unlike you guys, he got his dick wet. Kidding,
Yeah, I
kidding.
see that. Hey, I am a weeb in training. I own that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been weaving training for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
You'll
So,
get there, man.
I like this.
I'll get you there.
Mentorship and respect have been lost on this postmodern mentality. Oh, so true, my friend.
Lost because the modern mentality of today thinks that it needs to sever its past. It doesn't need to look back. It needs to only look forward. The problem is that if you we're struggling right now.
Go ahead, Schooner.
Oh, we're struggling right now because we are because we don't have a tether to the past anymore, and that's the problem that I think that we need to focus on is that we need to bring the past back because the past can show us how to defeat the enemy that is in front of us.
I'm gonna add on to what Schooner is saying. Not only they sever the past, they're trying to separate us from the past so that they can mold us to something that they choose to see us as, whether it's something positive or whether it's something negative. Mostly on the negative side, they want to keep us from looking to old idols because they deem them wrong. Because to them, they see heroes as the bully, they see the villain as the victim. They want to turn the heroes into villains because now to them it's high time for them to actually get around to trying to heal the villains. The problem is that the villains don't seek to be healed per se. They seek retribution and validity on the epic scale. That's what that's hey man, can I finish explaining?
Right.
Let's get serious on this, guys.
Yeah.
Anyways, what I'm saying is that the heroes are being molded into these the old heroes, mind you. They're molded into these shells that they're trying to cast off. Per se, they're trying to cast off those shells, or at least they want to be unshackled. They think in the way of Sith. My bonds are now shattered. The force has set me free.
They turn them into caricatures, basically.
On my idea, I think that Poison Ivy is what SJWs want all the heroes to be like.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's basic. Yeah, that's what they're turning them into now because now it's so ass backwards. They don't know how to write. It's gotten so ass backwards deconstruction that you don't even know how to write a hero anymore.
Let's call it defeatist writing.
Yeah, defeatist. Right? Exactly. Defeatist writing. Self-defeatist.
I've been making a point. I've been making a point now to really set the record straight. That is not deconstruction. Is what they're doing. They're doing what I like to call defeatist writing. They're writing their defeat on the board, and they're seeing themselves in their make-believe world as the ones that are the savior of the universe. But in reality, they're defeated, or at least they defeat themselves. For so I lose my train of thought. Let me try to get it back. They're trying to impose the heroism from upon somebody else so that they can reap the benefits, because you told somebody else to do something and to take care of it. You patting yourself on the back. You're trying to reap the credit, reap the reward, reap the fame and the prestige, whereas the person who actually did the thing is way more deserving because they put in the work.
Exactly.
But that's when it's the case where the person who did the work gets the praise, they're defeated because they're the one, again, to them telling somebody else to do something is what makes them the hero.
To quote Batman,
And
to
actual,
quote, to quote Batman from the DCAU, it's like, that is the single dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. If you're feeling guilty, you clear your own name. Don't sit on the sidelines waiting for somebody else to do it.
Hmm.
Exactly.
and also it reminds me of the mentor. Well, one of the mentor characters from Saint Seiya. Then when he was
Yeah.
talking to one of the gold sins, one of the gold says he calls him feeble-minded, minded because he was operating like at a moral relative mindset. So he tells
Yeah.
them, no, good is good, evil is evil. Evil, there is a clear distinction, and this actually ties back to like to what happened to one of the characters in The Boy and the Beast. One of
Yeah.
the adopted son of the Gilson.
Mm.
Mm.
That would be Ichiro Hiko, I believe.
Yeah,
He was a human masquerading as the one of the beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Well,
yeah.
We'll
That
get
was
to
what
him in a
we're
while
gonna.
because
No, no,
it's
no.
way
We're
off
gonna get to
yet.
him right now. We're actually gonna get into him right now
Oh,
because
we
okay.
are.
that's gonna be the yeah, we're getting into that right now because let's start off with how they introduce this character. They introduced in a roundabout way in a way it's a reverse introduction because Kyoto gets bullied by his younger brother, older brother.
His younger brother.
Younger, but that would be.
Yeah,
Let me check his name. It's crap. Finding it right now.
is
Jiromaru.
it Jiromo? Yeah, yeah. He gets bullied by Jiromaru, and you said Ichiro
Ichiro
Hiko.
Hiko. Yes.
Let's go and call him Ichiro
Right.
for the sake of us not getting tongue
Brevity.
tied.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, Ichiro is the kind, gentle one. He's brooding for. He's kind of like kind of like
Protege. The protege.
yeah. What I'm saying is he's also he's kind. He's very kind to Kyoto. He boosts him up, which
Mm-hmm.
again, now that we reveal what his true nature is, he builds him up because he's also a human like him, or at least
But
in
he,
this
Beast.
case, like, well, actually, no, I take that back. No, I take that back. He doesn't know that he's human.
I
He
know.
doesn't. Yeah.
All,
He
all
thinks.
his life,
He thinks.
he was. Go ahead.
Well, no. All his life, he believes that he's like his father, a warthog. And growing up, his father didn't discourage it. He basically said, "Hey, Dad, how come I don't get fur like you? Oh, you will someday. Why don't I get tusks like you? Oh, you will someday. Well, you are my son. Don't worry about it."
Doesn't it doesn't change the fact that you're my son is what he's saying.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know what
change
I'm
the fact that he's my son, and he becomes very resentful of that. That he is not transforming. He's not turning in. He feels like he's an abomination.
saying? Exactly. Um, who playing with their food?
Not me. I'm.
It's
I know
me.
who it is. I know who it is. I'm just asking that just be a
Mhm.
jackass.
of course.
But where was I going with this? Oh,
Well,
this leads into
well, you
leaves another topic that we're going to talk about in this movie: fatherhood. The difference between fatherhood. You see the contrast of Kyoto's father and Iozen as a father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one who was a neglectful father who later on this movie, which prop again, this is how you handle a time skip because it does go through a time skip.
Right.
Hmm.
But he meets his father again when he returns to the human world because he eventually goes back to the human world. Fish, you want to mute yourself while you're doing this? Thank you.
Yeah.
I hate to do that to you, buddy, but I'm like I can't think.
You're right about the time jump, because this does handle time jump really well. Because we have, like you said, it's the father figure, which is in Kamatetsu, and when their training session fails and they go and visit the other masters and they learn about the different values of strength, there's a line in there that I think is really good because they're camping just before they're about to head back home. And the line is spoken by one of Kamatetsu's pals. He says, "Those who work sincerely learn fast." So what does he? So what does Ren do? He decides to watch his master. If he can't learn from him directly, he will watch, do as he does.
Yeah,
So,
you know who said that though, right? The spirit of his mother told him that.
Yep, the spirit of his mother, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. So he starts watching him, and I love it. This leads to some of the hilarious scenes because he's watching him, and then he quickly acts like he's doing something else when he's looking in his direction. Mm-hmm. And Kamatetsu knows what he's doing. When he catches on to what he's doing, and he's like saying, "All right, well, if he's going to learn by watching me, I can do this." So So he just starts doing his training, and Ren is doing as he does. And then one day, you finally see, this is how you do a great montage. They show a montage of him mimicking his master. And then at one point, his master is playing a card game with one of his pals. And Ren is cutting a potato, and he starts realizing, holy smokes, as he's listening to his master's feet moving around. He's like, I already know what he's doing without even looking at him. Nice. He's finally officially, he's finally tapped into, okay, I can now predict his movement. And I love this bit when he decides to go and spar with him. And yes, I will call that a sparring session because he goes over to his master and just randomly hits him. And he's like, oh, what was that for? And he starts trying to hit Ren. Ren is sidestepping and moving and all that kind of stuff. And keeps knocking him and hitting him. And he's like going, I finally caught on.
Yep. It's called awesomeness by analysis.
Yep, awesomeness by analysis. Then that's what he's doing. He's just tap, tap, tap. And I love this bit too because not just fatherhood and mentorship, but we got a real the
student has become the master.
The student has become thank you. The student has become the master. And he starts helping out Kamutetsu with his problem. Is that how he's failing to adapt to a situation, hence why he was defeated in the square.
Yep.
He keeps going head on at a fight and not actually trying to fight him differently. And once his rival caught on to the way Kamutetsu fought, he defeated him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what I thought was great. And then we got, like you said, Wolf, we got one of the best time skips ever because then it shows them actually training together, sparring with each other, going through their housework and routines. I love the fact that, there are there are bonds formed here, but it's never surface level of the two of them smiling happily, being cheerful in the other's presence. No. This is very loud and argumentative. They're always yelling at each other, arguing. And one of the common things is that they have to finish breakfast. Whoever finishes breakfast fast does the dishes.
Yep.
Yeah, their accents and body language speak for themselves about the bond between father and son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially love the bit. Yeah, I especially love the bit where Ren is trying to punch a watermelon, and Kamutetsu just busts a giant pot of water.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually, Ren though does begin to break that watermelon.
Yep. And I love that bit. And then we finally get that, like you said, that time jump, which is great because Ren is now an adult. And he's like saying he's leaving, and Kamatetsu's like, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm not telling you." "Yes, you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me right now. I don't have to tell you anything."
Before then, we actually learn how to get back into the human world again.
Yep. No, yeah, you're right. I'm trying to remember how he got.
Because first he know how to get back. I don't recall. I just remember him just return the exact same way he went through.
He found the hallway again. He found that hall. The alleyway.
It was an alleyway.
Yeah, he followed
alleyway.
the alleyway, which led back into the human world, and he finally walks
He
back to the
basically
human
narrated the
world.
story himself, or rely on
Exactly,
the
and I
witch in
thought
the
that was
wardrobe, rather.
yeah.
This is
Oh
like
yeah, I
full
agree.
Narnia.
Thank you,
But I like
Narnia. Yeah.
his reaction. Yeah. His reaction to going back to the human world. You feel that because he is like utterly perplexed and astonished. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm back." So what do I do? And then what does he do? He goes to a university library or a school library.
Oh yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
attends high school himself, didn't he? Like
No,
No,
he's
he
I
did
mean,
not.
He hadn't been educated since he'd been in the what do you call it? The beast world.
yeah, he
Mm,
basically became Tarzan in that regard.
yeah.
mm.
And what I like about this is that he becomes a little more confident in himself, that he can actually open up and talk to people. Like he doesn't know a word, so he looks to the student who's come next to him, a girl, and she said, and he
Of
goes,
course.
"Hey, what does this word mean?" And she goes, "Whale,"
Yeah,
which
yeah,
by the
her
way is going to be
Coyote.
relevant. Yeah, coyote. Which by the way, whale becomes very prevalent in later in the movie.
Mm.
But yeah, and then we get this cool little cliched trope, which I love. I don't care.
Me cute.
We get these loud students in the library. Coyote goes over and says, "Can you just go outside?" And they said, "Well, we can do whatever we want outside. So yeah, let's go outside." And they leave. Coyote goes back to the bookshelf where Ren was, and he's gone. That evening, Coyote is leaving the school, and those students who she asked to please politely leave the library start messing with her. And who would show up? Ren. And I love the camera work in this scene because at first the camera pans over to Ren. The three male students notice him and they go, "Hey, did you see anything over here?" And they start punching him and stuff like that. Camera pans away to the girls who are messing with Coyote. And then you just hear a scuffle, and the girls who are picking on Coyote just immediately go, "Holy crap!"
Yep.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah. I already knew that was going to happen, though. Of course.
Oh, we all knew that was going to happen, but the way they shot it was unique, and I liked that.
Mm.
Before we continue any further, let me share some insight on my take on that scene, because I originally thought, I was like, oh, please don't tell me this was happening in his head,
Oh yeah.
because that like that time skip, the way how they did it, and the way how you reintegrates into a society that way, it's like, oh man, don't tell me that was a coping idea that he cooked up in his head, and
But no, it happened.
yeah, it happened the more he beat their asses. I was like, oh, then it was real then.
Mm.
But I like how the camera pans back to him, and if you watch closely, it looks like he hasn't moved from his spot. That he
Nope.
just stood there.
It was giving you two scenarios where he could possibly had lost that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like they show the guy grabbing him and just straight up slugs him right in the gut, right?
Mhm.
And it almost looked like they're about to just jump him, just straight up just stomp him, just
And
like
he was
just
gonna let,
stop.
and he was just gonna let that happen.
At least like you the what you would think he was basically just trying to curve their
Aggression.
their aggression towards him,
Yeah.
and they would leave her alone, like
Mhm.
most people would do too sometimes, who are not really that skilled in fighting in these type of stories. If not fight back, or at least like be able to throw a punch really good, at least he can hope that he could that the individual, I mean, in these stories can curve
Yeah.
their aggression to someone else instead of the weak person that can't defend themselves. You know,
Exactly.
which is one thing I like too in that regard. I like the aspect too, even though you would want them to take them out, but not everybody's a superhero,
Yeah.
or much less a well respected or well renowned martial artist. But that shocked me. Is like, oh, so it did happen. Okay, so it basically gave you two perspectives. The one route where he could have taken those hits, or the other route where he literally as I said earlier, beat their asses.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
I mean, man, that was a cool transitional scene. Like some people would have loved to have seen what he did, but I think for the sake of drama, that just fits perfectly. It fits.
Well, it also it
Sometimes
shows
the best stuff is the stuff you don't see.
Yeah, and it shows that because we've already seen that he can now convince himself because the way he can protect himself is because the way he's been training with Kamatetsu. Because Kamatetsu in his training never went easy on him.
Right.
He always said, "Earn your place, keep moving. If you either can do this or you cannot do this, so do
or do not. There is no try."
Exactly. And
Damn right.
what I love about Ren's character is that he comes to term with what he is very quickly, especially after the bullies beat him up, and he realizes, well, yeah, they pick on me because they called me weak, and he realizes because I am weak, I need to get strong. That's the only way this stops or how I win. And we actually saw him in a fight with the other bullies when it shows him beating them all up, and he hits the food back into the kid's mouth, which is awesome.
Now, speeding this along, let's get into the relationships. The relationship between him and the humans. Let's start with Kaede.
Mm-hmm.
How their romance sort of blossoms, even though it's more friendship than a romance.
It is more of a friendship than it's clear if you want to have it bloom into a romance, you can. If you can just say they're just friends, which is fine. But
it was obviously a romance, but
yeah. But with the relationship between him and Kaede is quite interesting because he's interested in learning, and he's willing during his time with Kamutetsu. He puts in the hard labor and the hours to do the work, and Kaede is kind of the same way, albeit her motivations are a little different.
Yeah, if I could add to that one, Schooner.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, see, like Kaede is also the flip side of Kumatetsu. See, like where Kumatetsu was loud, brash, and mainly trained Ren's body. She, on the other hand, is more polite, soft-spoken, well-educated, and is helping to train him in intellectual and training his mind, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's the difference,
exactly.
And it's another way of taming the masculine as well. She's helping him, become civilized again after he'd been in the beast world, not having really been educated or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. But exactly. And that's again, we get this little subversion of the trope, but then the trope goes back into traditionalism. And that's what we got here with Ren in the library. But instead of the girl coming to him and showing him how to do it, in this one, it's the male who's willing to do it. He's asking her, teach me. You don't see that often.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't.
And it's in something so subtle as asking her, hey, what does this word right here mean? And she says, it means whale. And if you need help, I'll be willing to help you. And he goes, yeah, that's perfect. I like that idea. Which, that's, again, Japanese storytelling, why it's doing so much better today than most Western media. So then we get to so she starts educating him, and he's willing to put it, and like we said, he's willing to put in the work. He listens, he does the mathematical equations, he does the English and all that kind of stuff. And she starts asking him, hey, do you want to go to the university? And he's like going, I don't know if I want to go to the university. And she says, you can do, it's your choice entirely, which that's also another shocker. She actually says, entirely your choice.
Yeah, well, that's another way she's like the opposite of Kumatetsu, where Kumatetsu says, you got to go for it. No hold back, always move forward. Whereas she's saying, it's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way she's different from him. And again, she's like the flip side of Kumatetsu, even though the two never directly interact.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta go out there and do it. Just loosen up and be tight at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he starts registering and going through the proper channels. And this is where they're like, well, you can't attend because you don't have you need to have a guardian. And then they said, well, we got your name from an old registry here, so we can tell you where your father is. And that leads to what you were saying earlier, Wolf 10. He suddenly realizes, oh my gosh, my biological father.
I'm not into guys with vaginas.
Oh!
That came out of nowhere.
I kid. Continue, Schooner.
He now suddenly realizes he knows where his biological father is, and he can go and talk to him now on his terms. So, and he's at
Gotta
first
say, when he meets his dad and they kind of hit it off a bit, I did get teary eyed, especially
Yeah.
when he confronts him.
Mm-hmm. He confronts him,
When he
and then
confronts his dad later on in the
his
film.
father, yeah, he finds out where his father lives, and he starts walking away. And then the next scene, you see him talking to an old man, and he says to the old man, "Do you recognize me?" And the old man says, "No." But then the old man pauses, and he goes, "Ren?" And then he goes over and he gives him the biggest hug in the world. And he explains to him, "Oh my God, you're alive. After I heard that your mom died, you were going to be taken in with these other people. I thought that was fine. But then they said you disappeared, and I've been looking for you nonstop."
Yep.
And
That's what makes him a good father. You know, he was looking for his son. He didn't just disappear out of his life, nor did he mean to. It just kind of happened that way because of circumstances.
mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, you know, today, like a lot of parents will just, you know, up and abandon their kids and never look back. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another thing of Western storytelling. They're like, "Oh, he abandoned them, and then that's it." If this were a Western film, they would say, "Oh, he's going to embrace Kamutetsu, who's his dad." No, they opt to go through a middle ground approach, and a very realistic middle ground approach.
Because that's kind of what they did in Shazam, by the way. I did like that moment with Shazam, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I want to rewrite that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I want to rewrite. I like as much as I love Shazam. I would like to have rewrite Billy Batson's character.
No, I love that arc.
I don't think
That's my
that.
personal love. That was perfect.
I know
I
you
still,
did, but I'm opposed to it. I'm just opposed to it.
I,
That's
I
all.
still, I still like Billy. I still like Billy Batson's like pre New 52 characterization. Because like the backup story when DC changed his name from Captain Marvel to Shazam. You know, like I was surprised that Joe Johnson would do something like that until like later on, like it grew on me. But I still like pre New 52 to Billy and the rest of the Captain Marvel family.
I agree. Pre-New 52 Billy, I liked a lot more. Yeah, I agree. But
Go ahead.
getting back to the Boy and the Beast, when he sees his father again, his father's trying to rebuild, and then Ren kind of regresses, I think, a little bit because that resentment that he carried at the beginning resurfaces. So he asks his dad, "You know, you don't know anything about me. How could you possibly know anything about me? Everything that I've been through and all this stuff."
It's this thing of somebody is basically just like overlooking a lot of things that he's balling up inside. Like you're trying to play things like things are normal. They're not right now. You really don't understand. This is not you just don't understand what I'm going through. No, this is you're not actually taking the time to really talk to me about these things or talk to me about things that we should be discussing right now. Like I've been like you didn't even take time to even tell me what's been going on while I've been missing while you've been looking. You're not even going to talk about mom's death. You know what I'm saying? I still felt that. Was he there when his mom died, or was he there at the funeral?
No.
Yes.
His dad, I mean.
I'm not the dad. No.
We don't know.
Yes and no.
No, it's no. He wasn't there.
Yeah,
his dad.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and what I love about this is that again, it plays it very middle of the road, where the dad actually says, "You're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're."
Yeah, he doesn't make excuses. He owns up.
He doesn't. No, he owns. Yeah, exactly. Something we'll never see in Western storytelling in the near future, but beautiful right here. He owns up to his mistake, and he says, "I can't change the past, but I am here now." And Ren is not ready. Ren's not ready. He runs off again.
and then he sees that shadow of the darkness thing again. And
Mhm.
here's one minor problem I have with the movie.
Yeah.
How the darkness works.
Mhm.
Okay, all humans have the darkness inside them, but how
Mhm.
come nobody can activate that power in the human world? What's the
Well,
explanation? How's that work?
I always thought that the shadow
It's
was
the
the
never-ending story thing again.
yeah. And it like
Go with your explanation real quick. Yeah, go ahead, Schooner.
you
What's
need
your
to be
explanation?
willing to confront and accept the past, the embracing of your shadow, the embracing of that darkness within you, and that's a Carl Jung philosophy too, and very much of Eastern storytelling as well. Confronting the shadow, the dark part of yourself, and when he's confronted with that, when he's confronted after
Hang on,
running from
Dominic.
when he's confronted with that shadow, it comes in the form of a little boy who yells what he yelled in the beginning of the movie, "I hate you all." And he realizes, he looks at that part of himself, and it terrifies him because he just sees how full of anger and hatred that he was in. That's untamed, raw anger, the darkness. And he's afraid. He doesn't confront it. He's afraid of it, and he runs away. What were you going to say, Dominic?
I was gonna say it's one of the reasons why philosophers, whether you're from the east or from the west, it's like stress the people on why it's a plan, trying to integrate yourself with your shadow as you
Oh,
grow
you got a
up to
playground
be
behind
a
you?
fully realized human being. Yeah, that's my presence.
I'm messing with you, but continue.
But anyway, whether you're from the east or the west, philosophers that like stress the people on the importance of integrating with your shadow. So because like if you ignore it or suppress it for so long, it's gonna do more harm than good in the long run.
What's
By
the concept of repressed
integrating,
anger, basically?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like by integrating with your shadow is like the aspect of yourself that
Y'all go on
you
a philosophical act there. I'm trying
Well, no. This is
on
good
my
because
end. I'm actually
this is actually really good because
no.
it
What I'm
does.
saying, I'm giving
This
an answer
does.
to. Yeah, we'll lead into that real soon. But I was trying to. I was going by answering physics question about why don't other humans have that. It's more of a fantastical thing where
Mm-hmm.
humans
Okay, so
again what we said earlier, which is one is the fantastical world, the other one's the mundane world. Nobody doesn't really know that, or maybe, just maybe, they do have that. It just doesn't manifest the way how Kyoto's shadow or darkness, or in the case of Shiro, manifests that way, especially when they're tapping into their spirituality on that aspect. Whereas everybody else, the darkness who say it doesn't exist in their being, it just it doesn't manifest as strongly like theirs does. Like say for instance, a bum that goes around and stabs somebody, that could be one's inner darkness right there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or say for instance, somebody would say for being political here, uh sexually assault somebody, that's an inner darkness at foot there. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is when that comes, it doesn't manifest as sharply and as strongly as these boys do. So
Mm-hmm.
who
mm, so
even
so the humans can only activate the superpowered side if they come in contact with the fantasy world.
I would say that's how that works, yes. Or like I said, it's not as strong in the human world as opposed to it being in the animal world. For all we know, the humans might have coexist with the beast people, and
Yep.
they were ostracized because of the darkness that they hold. You know, that whole man is dangerous as opposed to animals kind. Even though the animals are also just as fierce and unkind as the humans are.
it was
You can't really
alluded
say that.
to, and
You can't really say that because of the climaxes movie was. I'm not going because that the climaxes movie is in the human world. So
Exactly. I'm saying like yeah, like well, again, it manifests it when strong feelings are powering it up
Yeah.
in a way. What I'm
And
saying is, I'm just
exactly,
saying, who's to say it doesn't exist? It just
Mhm.
doesn't exist. It doesn't manifest that strongly as opposed to
it's an
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
these
The shadow
boys.
is an
Is what I'm
allegory to
saying.
the inner darkness within ourselves. The shadow is the
Mm-hmm.
allegory to the inner darkness within ourselves. Because we let that darkness consume us, we are capable of horrendous acts. And
Mhm.
that
Now
what
for a
you
basic explanation. Now for a basic explanation, motherfucker, do you or do you not want a motherfucking gigantic whale splashing all over the damn city already? We already got the
yeah.
assets. You want us to let that go to waste? Just look at the lights, Fizz. Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it
yeah,
was
and
it was alluded to in the movie's opening, like the Beastman and humans did used to live side by side until a variety of factors that caused them
A
to
rift.
distance themselves. That was what
yeah,
yes, yeah. So it
Mm-hmm.
caused the Beastman to live in this alternate plane of existence,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
whereas
That
the humans like
that and beasts
yes,
can
like
become
essentially
gods. Mm.
Yep.
yes, yeah, because like again, like
That
in
too.
this ancient past, like the Beastmen and humans did used to live together. However, because of a variety of like events that caused this rift that led to the Beastmen and emigrating from like Earth to this alternate plane, humans have forgotten that they used to live with these fantastical beings.
Yeah. So after he runs away
Let's
from his dad, though,
yeah.
It's basically like Spirited Away.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
He
don't I
left
don't
his
mean to speed this along, but let's get into the third act real quick.
well,
The
yeah,
fight
and this is
between Yozen and Kumatetsu, because there
yeah,
is two
but
fights between those two.
yeah,
Go
there
ahead,
is.
Schooner.
But this actually leads into the start of the third act when he runs away from his dad and he finds Kaede and he asks her to tell him what is he? Is he a man? Is he a beast? What is he? What is he? What is he? And we get the traditional smack in the face to bring him back to reality.
and then a
And
cool down hug following that.
yeah, a
Man, that
cool
pussy
down
must be
hug.
really good for him to calm him down.
But I like what Kaede
She gave
says.
him a
She
pussy
says,
slap.
but I like what Kaede says. She tells him that, sometimes she's in so much pain that she doesn't know what to do, and it feels like something's going to burst out of her chest. But she tells him that it's not just you, it's not just me. Everybody feels that way, and that's how she knows everything will be all right.
I know what Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
That's basically how it boils down to.
More or less.
That's what she. That's what she
Yeah,
should have asked him. And if you want to get realistic, that's what she should have asked him.
But I'm really happy they didn't go down realistic. They went down the fiction rabbit hole because she
Yeah.
says, I understand.
I mean,
No one.
really, I don't look. Here's the thing. It's realistic that she talked to him in a calm manner too. But what I'm saying is, you know how these fucktards will always think about like oh, if
Yeah.
that been me, I would step the hell away from him. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
be anywhere near him. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, because with those people, those kinds of people, their idea of realism is just constant, endless fucking drama with no resolution at all.
yeah,
But it's also what
which plays into
it also is what
into what Wolf said. Said like
and
some of the modern writers and artists they're
Y'all
pulling like
crisscrossing. Y'all
defeat
crisscrossing.
to
Hang
him.
on. Go ahead, Don.
I was saying, oh, what I was saying is this applies to what you mentioned earlier. Earlier, some of these modern creatives, because they're playing defeatist writing, not like the traditional ways of storytelling that we have gotten used to, like for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to resolve the conflict. They want to keep the conflict going, or at least they thrive off the conflict not fixing itself because they want to. Excuse me. They want to go somewhere else and find new conflict while leaving the old
Yep.
conflict bare and unsolvable, or at least not necessarily unsolvable, but just not solved at all.
Well, let's call them what
And
they
how
are.
long
They're
we're gonna wait
drama
for these
junkies.
idiots to solve the problem? Well, yeah. Well, thank you for summing up basically. But what I'm saying is, in the long form, um, they see conflict as their fuel, and that's why they keep conflicts unresolved. As Brian says, Drumfield, yes. But I was saying they want to resolve the conflict. But we all ask them this: when are you gonna resolve it? That's why. That's why it goes back to my whole thing about the mentorship. Be this how. Well, we got to protect this. How? How are you gonna protect it?
Yeah.
And they always, and sometimes you want an answer from them, but they do come up with the answers too. Yes, but even when they come up with the answers sound so freaking flimsy, and off the cuff that you can tell there's no thought put into it.
No.
Now you got people like Komatetsu who solve things with his fists, but it's an effective tool because at least he's confronting the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whereas these guys, we're gonna do this, but this person's gonna do that. Am I by the way, am I lagging?
No, you're not lagging.
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Am I coming in clear? Okay. Just want to make sure.
Well, and that's
continue,
that's what you were saying about Kamitetsu, exactly. Because after Coyote tells Ren that, it's not just him, he's not alone, Ren goes back to Kamitetsu and tells him that he's leaving. And Kamitetsu, just like with all of his problems, confronts him head on and says, "What do you mean? No, you're not leaving." And he says, "Yes, I am, so you can't." And he says, "Yes, I can." And I love that scene where he's walking out the door, he's leaving, he says he's going back to the human world, he's going to live with his dad, and he's going to go to school. He guts
his way out of it.
Yeah, how he guts his way out of it because Kamitetsu comes running out in front of him and says to him, "You're not leaving." He grabs him by his arm and flips him over his shoulder and says, "Yes, I am."
It was funny, yet heartbreaking because you could tell from his expressions that he didn't want Ren to leave because he thought that he was already his father because he's been raising him for all these years.
I know. It's kind of obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Because
without Ren, he basically begins to regress to his old ways.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And after he leaves, he's very much heartbroken. And Ren goes to live with his father, and he's starting to learn.
We're circling back. Let's keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ren goes back to see the final fight happen and decide who's going to be a new emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he runs back.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course. Who can't? Of course, it was amazing.
You want to take control of that, Fizz? Describe what goes on in that fight.
I mean, I can't describe nothing visually. You just gotta have to see it. Yes.
I guess I'll help you out on that one then. So Komatetsu in the beginning of the fight goes right into his beast form, just taking on Eozen head on, like he usually does in the first fight. Only like he goes at him, Eozen being the wise and humbled master is just completely dodging him, taking swipes when he needs to, when the opportunity presented itself. Of course, we all know when they go in that animal form, that's a lot of energy just spent in that form. Even let's just say this, even Kyoto, who's witnessing this, is saying, "You fool! Why are you doing this? You're gonna run out your strength early." And of course you got the other guys just watching. I hate to say calling the other guys. I can't for the life of me. Totaro and Hiko is they're watching. It's like he's been like this since you left, dude. Like there ain't no way we're gonna talk him out of this one or talk any sense into him. But of course, Kyoto jumps in and he does his best to speak to get a word into him,
during the countdown.
And of course, this is what. Yep. during the countdown while he's while Yulzen has him on the ropes and everything, has him down to his knees, and you think it's going to be over with until the count, the ninth count, he gets right back on up, and he's ready to throw down again.
I love what Ren says. He tells them, like, it isn't some word of encouragement like you see in the most Western media. He instead says to him, "Hey, lazy bones, get your ass up."
Yeah.
I love that.
Basically, speak his language.
Yeah.
That's the only way he'll listen, is to speak his language. Get up off your ass, you lazy bum, because Mickey loves ya.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, you had many fires, but they're not but this guy's hungry, and you ain't been hungry for years. You're not killed like this guy.
And that's always what and that's what I love about that scene. So he gets right back up and he starts fighting again, like truly, like
something that we kind of overlooked was the swords. Why they have swords, and here's a nifty angle about this this fighting with the swords. They don't fight them. They don't fight them out of their scabbards. They fight them sheathed.
Yeah.
You guys notice that?
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that, and how they were cushioned. The sheaths were cushioned, so they could fight each other a little more aggressively, because those sheaths can break, which you'll see later on.
Mm-hmm.
So
and the only reason why they're sheathed, because it's a fight. It's not a fight to the death. It's not really a duel to the death.
Yeah.
So of course it's like they fight, but they don't kill each other. Unlike us humans, it's another parallel between animal and human.
I don't get why they didn't use staff.
But go ahead, Schooner.
If that was the case.
So yeah,
or a kendo stick, right?
Well, yeah, kendo. Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, or at least my speculation, to answer what speculation, my speculation is that they never invented kendo, or any other sparring weapon like that. Or at least that that weapon is a status of their symbol, or a status symbol of their toolage. Kind of like how a belt, a colored belt around a gi is, or in the case of a school, in the case of your typical fight anime, the school's sign. You take that sign away, that school is either decommissioned or it's a part of your collection. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. So I like to take those swords as status symbols of their apprenticeship and tutelage. But who wrap it up, Schooner.
Yeah, so they get back to so Kamatetsu starts fighting like he was training, and in a surprising shock and twist, they don't drag this out to the very end. Instead, they actually get it over with pretty well and done. He actually is able to defeat him and is crowned victor.
But then the moment that shocked me happened.
Yep.
Yep.
The kind of twist that you saw coming, but you forgot about it because you were so focused on Kamutetsu and Ren's story. You learn that his rival
makes a heel turn.
Makes a heel turn. Yeah, when Ren shows up back to support Kamutetsu, and they invite him over to their house, and they're very nice and sweet to him. And then, as he's escorting Ren out, he sucker punches him. You're talking
about Shiro.
Yeah, Shiro.
The reverse effect, whereas Gennaro, help me out, Brian.
Ichiro Hiko?
No, not him, not Ichiro, the little brother.
Jiromaru.
Jiromaru was a bully. He was imposing dominance towards Kyoto. You see him kind of like what's his name? Justin from Zootopia?
I think so.
Joshua, I think. I forgot. Anyways, you see him come around to supporting Kyoto, whereas his brother Ichiro has now become the bully for a different reason this time around.
Yeah.
And y'all want to take away the explanation there?
Yeah, because Ichiro figured it out that he was actually human and not a beast, and he also hates humans because, well, look at the environment he grew up in.
Exactly. And he's very angry because he's always heard nothing but negativity about humans. And he puts two and two together. Oh my God, I am human, just like Ren. And he is so angry that he takes that frustration and self-hatred on himself on Ren when he comes over.
Not only
Also
that, but he also does
motivated
something.
by
And then he does
Also-
something horrific. Yeah, you're right. He does something so horrifically vile.
And I'll
Well,
I'll
here's
tell you what
another
that
thing.
is. He throws
hang
a
on.
Hang on.
I'm sorry. Hang on though.
All right.
Let's add to the pool real quick. He's also motivated by pleasing his father by or at least uh high praise. Hey, Big Al, by the way. But high praise of his father. He looks up to his father heavily. That he's all the world to him in a way. He's very near dear to him. You know,
Yes.
to the point where he'll do just about anything to earn his father's love, which it's already been earned at that point. He's misguided in that front. But yeah, go ahead. Explain what he does to Brian.
He uses
does pretty much
telekinesis.
Yeah, what he does, he uses telekinesis to shove a sword right into Kuma Tetsu's behind there.
Back.
His back.
The technique that he hinted earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, stabs him through the heart, no less.
They say he had telekinesis since he was a kid, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it shocks everybody. Even Iozan is appalled by it. He's saying, "What are you doing? Stop this!"
Mm-hmm.
Now you're the victor, father.
More or less.
And that's the thing. Yeah, after the fight's over and Kamutetsu wins, he goes over to Ren. They share a moment, and then suddenly a sword goes into Kamutetsu's back, and you find out Ichigo used his
I did
sword.
it all for you, father. No, Loki.
And then you see that dark circle in his chest area.
It's the same as Ren. He's basically a shadow archetype for Ren. And
that's exactly what he is. He's a shadow archetype.
It's that blue hedgehog.
More or less Ren's foil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Now we're on that emotional high. Y'all ready for your weekly motivation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the weekly motivation.
Yeah, I can't video because I'm on my phone.
Yeah. Anyway, so after
That's okay. Take two of these and call me in the morning.
Kamatetsu's, so he gets stabbed in the back and then he falls down. Ichigo is so angry. Ren is so angry that his shadow begins to open up and he's about to send his sword at Ichigo. And that's his name, right? Ichigo?
Ichiro.
Thank you. Ichiro. So he's sending it to Ichiro.
It's okay, Scooter. You're distracted by the tatas.
Yes, I am. Anyway, sends his sword at Ichiro, and he stops himself, which I love because the spirit of his mom and the friendship that he made with Kaede stops him. And Ichiro just basically is angered at the fact that he tried to throw a sword at him. And he says, "You will suffer for this," and just disappears. And Ren passes out, and we do a short little pause. We wake up, Ren is by Kamatitsuru's side, and, wondering what happened.
Yeah. We see Kumatetsu just heavily bandaged up from that wound as well.
Yep, exactly.
Too stubborn to die. This in, folks, man too angry to die.
Yep.
Or in this case, a bear too angry to die.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But what I love about that scene is immediately afterwards we get the explanation that Ichiro is human, that he was taken from the human world and brought over to the animal world, but his father never told him what he was.
He kept it a secret from him, basically.
By using all people, what's his the board
Iozan.
Iozan of all people, because he had to start was the one telling everybody he was a bad. So that's a funny thing.
Well, here's another thing that I want to point out about Iozan's parentage versus Kyota's parentage, his dad's parentage. Yozen was there every day in Ichiro's life.
Mm-hmm.
Even it almost kind of bordered on him favoring Ichiro as to Jinamaru
Yeah.
in a way,
Mm-hmm.
like the favorite son in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
you kind of see their past in one shot, just one take of animation there, where as we mentioned before, he's talking about how he doesn't have his tusks like his dad or his brother, and he's talking so they'll come in. It's like he was very supportive, but he was also misguided. He should have told the boy of his true nature, whereas you got Komatetsu with Kyoto, which Kyoto already knows he's human. And
Mm-hmm.
that's only reason why Yozen parentage is so different from Komatetsu and Kyoto's is that Yozen
He was a
took
baby.
he took Ichiro as a baby. He was abandoned in a way. He was abandoned,
Right.
and like he raised him amongst animals, you know. To a point where even Ichiro had to skin an animal and wear it for skin a pig and wear it for
A hat.
that,
Yep.
a hat
Mm-hmm.
to remind, I guess, to remind himself that he's a boar or just to blend in with everybody actually.
When in Rome, do as the Romans.
But yeah, that was basically the failure of, not necessarily the failure, but the flaw in Yozen's parenting.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he kept lying to the boy.
He did everything right except tell him the truth about his heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's probably the tragedy too, because right when the master explains, I mean, right after he explains to the master what he did, he says, "Is there any way we can get him back? Can we get him?" And
Which leads us to our climax.
They don't know if they can or not, and it's sad. But what I love is that Ren decides, yeah, you know what? I think we can get him back because I was able to pull myself back from darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can too. So he decides to get himself ready and head on out there. And I love the scene where Kamatetsu's two best friends are coming to him and saying, "Are you going for revenge?" Or, stuff like that. Don't be stupid and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, the pig guy chews him out for it. When one of the very few times we see the guy lose his cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the time, he's been just the calm, wise, and
Jovial,
basically the only sane man, or only sane pig in this case.
Yeah.
Oink, oink.
Yeah, but then he just completely flips his shit at the thought of Ren just going out for revenge. And this is where Ren steps up and says, "Thank you for yelling at me, but I'm not going for revenge," or something like that.
Yeah, like he says, "I appreciate your concern."
More or less, yes.
And he goes, "But I'm not going for revenge. I think I can get him back. And that's why I'm going to do this." So he leaves and he goes back into the human world to say goodbye to Kaede and give her a book back on Moby Dick, surprisingly. And that's suddenly when we run it, that Ichiro shows up. And
ironic that it's a whale.
Yep, ironic. His shadow, that darkness, comes in the form of a whale. Well, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't come just yet. He and Ren fight, and he quickly defeats Ren. And that's when Kaede grabs his arm and says, "Come on, run and run, run." And
they run throughout that place, and dude, he's causing a lot of carnage on Akira epic levels.
Oh,
Ichiro finds the book that he was going to give back. Ichiro finds the book that he was going to give back and looks at it and he says, whale. So this is what he wants. So this is what is on Ren's mind. Okay. So he decides to take his darkness and form it into a giant whale.
Yeah.
I basically saw him as an evil Green Lantern by that point.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, as a result of that little fight between Ren and Ichiro, like people are being exposed to magic again because for centuries they've forgotten that they used to live live with well, not just fantastical beings, but also they lived around magic.
And they never gonna know about it.
Mm-hmm.
They still never gonna know about it because it was a freak occurrence after that fight. I don't mean to keep telling you guys to speed it up because right now I got Culture Fortress later on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear
So
ya.
we're gonna wrap it up right here. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
so long story short, he turns into a whale, goes after Ren. Kaeda tells him that she's going to stick by his side, and all of the disturbances in the human world is revealed to also affect the animal world in some shape or form. Kamatetsu wakes up and says to the master, "Hey, he's in trouble. I got to go and help him." And the master's saying, "Well, how are you going to do that?" And he says, "I need to become divine, like you." And the master says to him, he is technically the master now, so
The emperor.
the emperor, yeah. He says, "Well, you technically are the emperor now and can transcend the divinity before me. You realize that this is a one and done deal. You do this, you can't ever go back." And Kamatsuura just goes, "Okay."
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
he just says, "Okay." He's ready to make that
Of
sacrifice,
course.
and that's where he comes full circle as the father
Mhm.
figure. He doesn't even hesitate at that decision.
Nope.
Yeah.
So
And then he reincarnates as the sword.
he
The sword in
reincarnates
his
as
soul.
the sword of his soul, and he lands it. So anyway, Ichiro fights Ren. Ren is looking like he's going to absorb the darkness and be consumed and destroyed by it. And then the sword comes down and basically tells him, "No, you got the heart of a warrior, and you're going to fight and win this like a warrior, and you're not going to chicken out like through some suicide attempt, some noble suicide attempt. You're not going to chicken. You're not taking the easy way out. You're going to go all the way." And he's
You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna take you down. You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna take you down.
By the way, am I the
Wait,
only
wrong
person
song.
who was
You got the touch. You got the power.
Am I the
Yeah.
while we're talking about like swords in your heart, am I the only person here that was reminded of Aerosmith's "There's a hole in my soul that's been killing me forever"? Right?
Man,
yeah.
You
I'm gonna
weren't
But
the
if
tell you
you
only
right
want,
one.
now. I,
but if you
I
want,
look, man. There's the power of boners, but then there's the literal power of boners in this scene.
Yeah.
Because
So,
all while this is happening, Kaede is witnessing this too right now. She's dragged along. She's basically being dragged along for the ride. You know,
Yeah.
he tries his best to keep her safe and keep her away from the fight, but she's basically she's palling around with him at this point because she knows
Yeah.
she knows that he can protect her.
That and she
Mm.
also gives Ichiro a big "reason you suck" speech.
I think
It
what I
didn't come
like
off as annoying either.
didn't come
That's why
off
I'm
as
giggling.
no, because what she says is that when she comes off as "you suck," she's telling him, "But that's why I'm here, because I'm here to pull you back, and when I suck, you're gonna be here to help me up. That's why I'm here." And
Right.
that's a wholesome "you suck" moment.
Pretty much.
I know that's weird to say, but it is. It shows too. Never before have I ever thought the scene where she says "you suck" could be so wholesome.
Yeah. She doesn't even say it with
Your
those
suck
words, but
sticks are
that's what
made.
she's getting at.
Yeah. And she just basically says, "You help me because you protect me. I'm not physically strong. I help you when you're feeling down. So we're in this together from here to
You're
there."
not gonna give up because Mickey loves you.
Exactly. And
Now get up, you bum.
mhm. Now get up, you bum. So right after, so after that, he takes the sword and he puts it into his heart, and he's able to defeat Ichiro and get the darkness.
No,
Like
I won't let you take Kari's heart.
Exactly.
So straight up Kingdom Hearts
And after
references
that,
going on here.
mhm.
Seriously.
And after that, what was it? So then we cut back to the animal world where Ichiro wakes up and he doesn't remember anything that happened after the fight.
Because of course.
But then we cut back to the human world where Ren has basically been accepted into school and he's doing the whole normal human thing. But
Liz was dead now.
But and he's living with his father now. But there is something truly different about him. By absorbing the sword into his heart, Kama Tetsura is now with him always. Like
there's an extra voice in his head.
Yep. Well, not just a voice in his head. It's like when he heard his mother talking to him. Now he can hear Kama Tetsura talking to him because that's what he's supposed. That's what's really supposed to be when we grow up with our parents or our mentors and stuff like that. We then start carrying them with us through our lives, and we start.
Now I know I'm rushing into this, but let's get into our final thoughts of this movie.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I adored every second of it, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I mean, of this director's work, I still think Summer Wars is my favorite, but that's because it's just because Summer Wars was just so loony and crazy, and I eat that stuff up.
Well, well, how about this, guys? Because we did bring this up, and I was going to bring this up earlier, but you know we want to get this out of the way. But I want to bring this to you guys' attention. How would you guys like for us to do a Summer Wars rewatch?
I'm down. When?
Let's start next year.
All right, I'm down with that.
Either a rewatch.
Yeah, same here.
Either a rewatch or a anime spotlight.
Yeah,
we can talk just about that, and you guys can watch the movie for a refresher and all that stuff. You guys know the drill. I'm loving this right now. I'm telling you guys right now. I'm sorry. I'm telling you guys, I'm loving these anime rewatches, talking anime with you guys. So I'm going to continue this at least until at least until I figure out how things are going to happen in the near future. I can't predict what's going to go on in the near future. We'll see if the new job ever calls me back, and I'm set for that. We'll see. But I'm not about to stop these anime spotlights. What you say, Dominic?
I don't know what Summer Wars is.
Good. Get started watching it.
Well, I'm happy to hear that we'll still be doing like the anime spotlights. Well, what about our manga discussions?
I will be returning with the manga studies. Just trying to.
I don't know if I can return for those because I gotta get tech fixed.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'd be down for all of it.
Yeah.
Well, bro, you ain't got shit to do right now, so of course you're down for all of it. except work in the morning.
That's the thing. This is like the ultimate win-win for me because it's either anime spotlight, we talk about it, or anime rewatch, we just watch it. Either way, I'm getting the best.
Manga reads, you freaking damn near chew up the whole damn cake before any of us get to sample the first 5 chapters here and there.
Well, sorry for look, if you really think about it, it is your fault. You picked such good mangas, and I have to keep going.
Not to mention, like our manga studies can apply to comic books as well.
Exactly.
That's what I'm going to try to do on my channel. But
comic studies. Let's call them that, comic studies.
Right.
Yes.
Or at least
that's what I'm going to try to do on my channel.
Or how about this? Comic talk. Our favorite comic books that we've read.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we could also, like we do with manga studies, like talk about like the structure, like how the characters are written, and so on and so forth, like how they are executed.
I'll tell you right now.
Storytelling wise.
I'll tell you right now. I'm down to talk about All-Star Superman.
Oh, now that's a classic.
Yeah.
And I
Everybody knows All-Star Superman.
that to be. Yeah, I can actually
Say it again,
see that
Fizz.
work
Hang on,
as like
Dominic.
the first episode of.
Hang on, Dominic. What'd you say, Fizz?
Everybody already knows All Star Superman.
I
That's
agree.
good.
Everybody
Like,
already know. Everybody already knows both of the titles in the All Star line for two completely different reasons.
yeah, exactly.
And I oh
All right. Also, All-Star Superman can work as episode one of Comic Studies.
Mm. Well, I will say this. One of my favorite stories of All Star Superman was him and the Kryptonian. What's his name? Burrell and his wife.
Yeah.
And it's mostly due to the climax, the exchange between him and Clark,
Hmm.
and that I'm paraphrasing this exchange. He says, after everything we've done, you show us mercy. He says, he says, my human folks on Earth has taught me a lot of things. They taught me about forgiveness. He says, help me out here, Schooner. I know you remember the line.
Yeah, he says they always taught me about forgiveness, compassion, and the ability to give one the benefit of the doubt.
And what did Burrell say?
Burrell basically said, that was a moment where he says, maybe humans are not what we originally thought.
He says
Maybe
they can surprise.
They can surprise.
Yeah, they can surprise you if you learn anything from them. And he says, Burrell says that he says, I'm glad to have known you, son of El. I'm glad to have called you my kin. And every time I hear or read that line, I get shivers in my body.
Yeah.
And I always shed a tear hearing that, because it's like that could apply to any race and culture. The more well educated black person, as opposed to the black people that are lost and confused, and they see how they see going native when it comes to other race and cultures as a betrayal of the race, right? Not exactly, but when you show them the way, a better way, or at least a better life than what their law in life is, right? They come to realize that sometimes their way of thinking is kind of stagnant, and to earn that kind of to earn that love and respect from a person with that kind of mindset, that hits home. That hits home to the heart.
Precisely. Yeah. Well, precisely because then you suddenly realize, that you've been looking at this person, you're now seeing this person in a whole new light, and then you suddenly have an epiphany where you realize, holy smokes, the virtues of this person have always been there.
Yeah,
So
I never got to say my thoughts about the movie. I did like this movie. Almost every day this movie. The only thing I didn't get was the climax. The climax could have been much better, I believe.
Yeah, sometimes that's kind of like a blight in his writing. The climax can be a bit
anticlimactic.
That too, but also it's a combination of what the fuckery and sometimes Deus Ex Machina. Sometimes
it's also how it wraps everything up. It tries to wrap things up almost perfectly and gets a little muddled towards the end.
I felt the climax should have been happening in the Beast world, more preferably.
But but here's the thing: he was going back to the human world, so he needed to make peace because he will always be a child of two worlds. But that isn't necessary. He doesn't have to choose one or the other. He can have both.
No, I'm talking about the actual fight and stuff.
Yeah, and that's what Ichiro was supposed to represent. That you can't just embrace one and deny another.
Something that was also transition with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying, Fizz, on that climax. I I kind of felt the same way in a way, but I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? It's more the philosophy aspect, the philosophical aspect to it.
Mm.
That was happening afoot.
Because in story was it what was Israel trying to do? That's the thing. I know he's evil now, but what is he trying to do? That's all you understand. Like what yeah.
His love for his father, what was also fueled by that. His hatred kind of clouded his judgment. That's why he was a wild beast at that point.
Yeah.
Like he lost sight of what he was doing it for and who he was doing it for at this point.
Yeah.
He saw his hatred for Ren, and it just completely overrides everything he was doing. Completely.
Yeah.
He was trying to prove that he was a beast.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, Don, did you share your final thoughts yet?
I didn't share my
I
thoughts
did not.
yet.
Yeah, I didn't share mine either.
Okay, I want you guys to take a piece of the cake too. Let's start with you, Dominic, and Brian. Go after him.
Right.
Well, Boy and the Beast is definitely a movie that is worth rewatching. One that contains like powerful universal themes that incorporates really well into its overall story and the themes of fatherhood, mentorship, among others, is something that is desperately missed here in the West, especially when it comes to like modern creatives, whereas who were not taught like the traditional methods of storytelling.
Right.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, pretty much echoing Dominic's sentiment, and I also want to say, like, when I was done with this film, it almost made me teary eyed a bit because the things were just beautiful and how they handled it.
He has that effect with people.
Exactly. Because it's just so hard, especially the message of you are not alone. Like, listen, you had this character with Ren who tried to do everything himself, and he ended up realizing, you know what, I do need a little extra help. And he gets it in the form of Kumatetsu, Kaide, and I guess that's about it there for me.
I personally will be rewatching this movie just like how I did with Summer Wars, and I'm on my 6th watch of Summer Wars
Yeah.
today.
Like I said, Summer War. I don't know. I still think Summer Wars is this director's best work.
It'll always be his best work. I still have yet to watch Wolf Children.
Oh, you should. Wolf Children is good. Not so. It's a lot more heavy-handed on the emotional drama.
True, but yeah, Wolf Children. I'm definitely gonna be watching next pretty soon. But yeah, like this movie, like man, like boys need to watch this, and so do girls. This will be loved by boys and girls. I would definitely introduce this to my nephews because they kind of I wouldn't say they had a similar situation as Kyoto. That I'd be lying. That no, nah. But like this is what boys will be watching to know how to face their problems when there's no mentor figure or father in their lives. To be
It
exact.
also teaches them on what it means to be a man.
Let's get down to business. To kick Kamatu in his ass. Did they send me a daughter when I asked for a son? You're a sad little bunch I ever met, and you can bet before we're through, somehow this bear will make a cub out of you.
Well, that's really what I mean. This is a movie that is for boys and men and teenagers, and that's very rare when we get a movie like that.
America nowadays.
Especially nowadays. I mean, this is a guy movie.
That women can enjoy.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
Continue, I'm sorry.
That being said, guys, be a bear, not a wimp. Be a man, not a simp. You know. So, if nothing else, I'd like to thank everybody. Those few of you and those non-existent motherfuckers that's gonna see this afterwards. I'd like to thank everybody for being with us. You know,
Right.
listen to us prowl on about this movie and how great it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tune in the future. I'm not gonna say what we're gonna be doing next right now. I know I got the list together and everything, but that list could be moved up due to what I announced earlier. I'd like to thank my compadres, Brian Gil Martin, the Maverick Hunter Saint.
Yeah, it's been fun discussing this very interesting movie with you guys, and yeah, I hope you all go and watch it because it's a very good coming of age story, very good story about manhood, mentorhood, you name it. And anyway, with that said, yeah, and with that said, I'm gonna take off. This has been Brian Gilmartin. No damage to report. Moving to next area.
Coming at you live underneath on the ground with good Wi-Fi, the Schooner Tuna.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground. This is Schooner Tuna. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you have an anime you would like us to spotlight or watch, drop it down in the comments below. And until then, I am signing out. Till next time we meet. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Going by what he said, ain't no Naruto in this motherfucker. I'm sorry. Y'all ain't don't listen no big three. We ain't doing no big three. Fuck that shit.
Of course. Everybody already knows the Moray.
Why would we subject ourselves to that long, elongated series? There is no way we can finish it in a span of time that is.
I know.
That would be
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
It literally gonna take years to watch One Piece.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
God.
What I'm saying is we don't do no long form anime. We do anime that actually end.
Yeah.
Okay. That's our format right now. We ain't doing no long form shit.
Yeah. Naruto did end eventually. It just took so many years.
No,
it's still long. Look, y'all. It's still long form. It's still long fucking form. Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still long form. We ain't doing that. We're not doing no Dragon Ball. We're not doing no Dragon Ball Z. None of that. Nada.
Exactly.
Now that you're speaking up, why don't you sign out now, Fiz Chozo?
Well, subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be trying to post videos very soon, even though I got tech problems.
You soldier on, man. Keep it up, as always.
Mm-hmm.
Next to him, the bear of the bear. Damn it. The Hound of the South, Dominic Powell.
Well, coming at you from the South, this is Dominic Comic Wiz Powell. Thank you for joining us in this little discussion of the Boy and the Beast. Hope you all enjoyed it. As Kuna mentioned, if you wanted to talk about any other anime, sure, share with us, and we'll get to it any way we can. So this is Dominic Comic Wiz Powell, the Hound of the South. See you all later.
As always, and once again, thank you, the Bear of the North, Eloise, for joining us in the green room for a while and telling us about that interesting story. We're not going to say it here on live, but also thank you for joining us briefly in the chat as well. So thank you enough for that. And by the way, guys, boobies.
Yep.
We're gentlemen, okay?
Yeah, she's clothed. Both of them are clothed.
Yeah, that released my inner wolf.
Now that you brought that up, Schooner, this has been your Welcome in Wolf 10, reminding you guys once again, as you tune in, you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the Wolf Fleet. That's some motherfucking overachievers, damn it. Well, since you guys are that fucking enthusiastic about the damn how about this?
You can feel it.